that I can actually stream in a way that you guys can see what I'm streaming. So I mean, in a way that you can actually see the screen. So this is a test. I'm going to try it out. I don't know if I can actually do it, but I'm going to try it out. I think I figured out how to do it using Google Hangouts. Okay, let's see. All right, so it's going to be a really short stream. I'm going to stream again at 9 p.m. today, but this is a test. I want to see if it works or not. So because it's better for you guys to see the actual regions than, you know, to see my face. Yeah, it makes sense. So let's see. I think it should work. So this is just a test. So I can't see the chat. I don't think I can see the chat. So this is just a test. So this is. So this is a global history and geography regions from January 2010. I know it's a little old, but you know, it's still regions, it's still history. So since the new transition regions exam is going to be based mainly on the 10th grade stuff, we're going to look for questions that relate to 10th grade material. Now, remember, this is just a test. I don't know if it's going to work. Because I'm trying something different. I'm trying to see if you guys can see the screen. I think you guys should be able to see the screen because if I press the right buttons. But let's see. I'm going to skip all these questions. So we're going to go to question. We're going to start with question number 22. All right, question number 22. Remember, it's January 2010 regions. Question number 22. You should be able to see it, which makes sense. So can we zoom a little bit? Yeah, I think we can zoom right now, which is better. All right, so question 22 says, which statement about the scientific revolution year is accurate? Now, I don't know if scientific revolution will actually be on a test, because they're saying it's going to be based on 10th grade material. And, you know, some, like in the past, they put scientific revolution, you know, they taught it in 9th grade. Right now, they're doing it in 10th grade in the beginning. So I don't know. It's the first time this test was given, but I'm going to go over it anyway, chiefly. So, I mean, briefly. So, which statement about scientific revolution in Europe is accurate? Is it 1, existence of natural laws was rejected? Is it 2, scientists questioned traditional beliefs about the universe? I mean 2, 3, is it new ideas supported the geocentric theory of Ptolemy? Or 4, the Bible is used to justify new scientific findings? Now, you know you can eliminate 4, because scientific revolution dealt with science. And one major difference between scientific revolution and Enlightenment movement that came a little bit later is that scientific revolution dealt with science, Enlightenment dealt with politics. Is it 1, natural laws was rejected? No, I don't think it's 1. It's 2, scientists question traditional beliefs about the universe. So they question traditional beliefs. So, I mean, it's very easy to get scientific revolution confused with Enlightenment. And, you know, I remember when I was in high school, in the very beginning, when I was studying global history, I got these two confused as well, you know, scientific revolution and Enlightenment. But one thing to remember is that scientific revolution deals with science, Enlightenment deals with politics. That's an important difference. Question number 23. Under the old regime of France, it says right here, the burden of taxation fell mostly on the what? All right, so you remember there were 3 estates in France. The first estate was the church, I think. The second was the nobility, and the third one was the commoners, everyone else. And first and second paid no taxes. Commoners paid all of the taxes. So of course it's 4. 23, the answer is 4. So question 24, one way in which Robespierre and Napoleon are similar is that both of them did what? Is one played an important role at the Congress of Vienna? No, Congress of Vienna came after Napoleon was defeated in Waterloo, 1815. So 1 is the wrong answer. 2, increase the power during the French Revolution. Could be, but let's see all the choices. Were executed for treason by the French monarchs? No. Led armies against Haitians? Robespierre increased the power during the French Revolution. I think that's the right answer. Because Napoleon came to power as a result of the French Revolution. So that should be the right answer. Now, the French did send armies against the Haitians, so let's double check it. Question 24 should be 2. Should be 2. I just want to double check it. Double check it. 24, 24, 24. 24 is 2. Perfect. 24 is 2. Got it. Let's go back. Let's go back. 24 is 2. Increase their powers during the French Revolution. Question number 25. Many critics believe that the policy of the British government during the Irish famine, Irish potato famine, you got to know that's the regions. So, Ireland depended a lot on potatoes. And once there was they didn't have enough potatoes, basically I'm talking about in the middle of the 19th century, they were starving, and a lot of them migrated to the United States. So is it one contributed to food shortages? Absolutely right. It's not to ignore military concerns. It's not to discourage immigration, and it's not for. It's one contribute to food shortages. Since a lot of people were dying, they were moving to the United States. 4. Which development in Africa was the cause of the other 3? Is it 1, rival tribal groups fought wars? Is it 2, the Berlin Conference of 1884 influenced colonial boundaries? Is it 3, traditional territories and culture groups were predominantly fragmented? Or is it 4, African economies became dependent on the sale of cash crops and raw materials? So cause of the other 3. I think it's a Berlin Conference of 1884, because that was the conference, and we talked about it briefly in my last stream, where Europeans divided Africa. And basically they took, each European country took a piece of Africa. I mean, not every European country, but a whole bunch of European countries took a piece of Africa for themselves. They didn't care about native people of Africa. They just wanted to colonize Africa for their own benefit. It was part of their imperialism. So 26 is 2, Berlin Conference. 27. Which cultures fought with Zulus in the 19th century? Before even reading the answers, I know it's the British, most likely, one of them. Of the control of the land of South Africa, of course, the British and the Boers. 3. 27 is 3. All right, so 28, we've got a little passage. Let's zoom out. With a man. Okay, so it says basically answer the question 28 on the passage below on your knowledge of social studies. All right, it says our celestial empire, China, rules over 10,000 kingdoms. Most surely we do possess a measure of godlike majesty which you cannot fathom. Still, we cannot bear to slay or exterminate without previous warning. And as for this reason, we now clearly make known to you the fixed laws of our land. If the foreign merchants of you said honorable nations desire to continue their commercial intercourse, they then must trumpedly obey our recorded statutes. They must cut off the source from which the opium flows, and on no account make an experiment of our laws and our own persons, that then your highness, Queen Victoria, punish those of your subjects who may be criminal. Do not endeavor to screen and conceal them, and thus you will secure peace and quietness to your possessions. Thus will you more than ever display a proper sense of respect and obedience, and thus may we unitedly enjoy the common blessings of peace and happiness with a greater joy, with more complete felicity than this. Chinese Commissioner. Talking about what events directly relate to 19th century situation described in this passage. The Treaty of Nanjing. which ended, I believe it ended the Opium War. Right? Yeah, Treaty of Nanjing, as you can see right here, 1842, ended the first Opium War because Europeans wanted to sell drugs, opium, in China. So the Treaty of Nanjing, or Europeans did win the war, the Opium War. So that's the Treaty of Nanjing. It's not Sepoy Rebellion. Sepoy Rebellion is India, because what you have to know about Sepoy Rebellion is that Sepoys were Indian soldiers who were fighting the British, I believe, who were colonizing India, and there were a lot of people in India were upset that the British were using cow and pig fat to grease their guns. Yeah, because I believe they were using cow fat, which offended Indians, and there was also a sizable Muslim population in India, and since they were using pig fat as well, that offended them. So the British made a lot of bad decisions that offended a whole bunch of people. It's not Russo-Japanese War, was in early 20th century, I believe 1905. 1905? Let's double check. 1905? 1904, 1905, that's right, which Japan won. Yeah, and it has nothing to do with annexation of Korea. I don't know. I don't know if you guys can see it. I can't see the chat yet. But I'm still trying to learn how to stream properly, but I think we're getting somewhere. So question 29. This is just a test, by the way. Tonight I'm gonna do a much better stream. So during the late 19th century, Japan's lack of natural resources was one reason for implementation of policy of imperialism. So guys, you know that Japan is an island. It doesn't have a lot of natural resources. So they had to look elsewhere to get those resources. So anytime a strong country takes over a weaker one for raw materials, that's imperialism. It's almost guaranteed that it's going to show up in your exam. You have to know what imperialism is. So since Japan didn't have a lot of natural resources, they were looking for China. They looked at China and Manchuria, Korea, to get those resources. 30. One reason the Bolsheviks gained peasant support during the Russian Revolution was because Bolsheviks promised them, even before looking at the answer, to know it's land, peace, and bread. But let's see, redistribute land. That's another thing that they promised. Bolshevik, no. 3, bring modern technology to Russian part, no. 4, maintain an agricultural price support program. So yeah, land, peace, and bread. Yeah, redistribute land. So they promised peasants land. In reality, they didn't get land. Land was owned by the government because the Soviet Union was a totalitarian country, which was based on a command economy. But yeah, 30, the answer is 1. 31, let's scroll down. Woodrow Wilson's 14 points. Now, we're going to skip this. I don't know if it's going to be on the test. Probably not. That's U.S. history. That's, Woodrow Wilson was the American president. So we're going to go to question 32. Which statement about Turkish leader Ataturk is an opinion rather than a fact? So facts and opinions are the easiest questions on regions because you don't need to know anything about this person. You just need to know what's the difference between an opinion and a fact, which I'm sure you guys remember from elementary school. Facts and opinions. So, he promoted modernization. Now, this sounds like a fact. So his efforts led to development of industries. That sounds like a fact. 3, he encouraged people to wear Western style clothing. That sounds like a fact. So when you look for opinions, you have to look for keywords. His major, that's a keyword right here. Major accomplishment was separation of church and state. Excellent. That's his major accomplishment. He secularized Turkey. All right, so 33. Joseph Stalin's policies in Ukraine during the 1930s directly resulted in, now when I think of Joseph Stalin, Ukraine 1930s, I'm thinking about Holodomor, which is still a controversial topic between Ukraine and Russia. Ukraine believes that it was a genocide by which the Soviet Union intentionally starved Ukrainians. Russia denies that it was a genocide. So, I mean, it's still, to this day, it's a topic of controversy for both of these countries. But in this case, 1930s directly resulted in, was there widespread starvation? Absolutely yes. One, widespread starvation. It's not two, agricultural self-sufficiency. It's not three, development of cotton industries, and it's not four, subsistence farming. It's widespread starvation. 34. All right, so you see a little quote right here. You should take steps now to cease military resistance. Otherwise, we shall resourcefully employ this bomb, and all of our other superior weapons to promptly and forcefully end the war. So the bomb, I'm thinking about the nuclear bomb because it's 1945. A lot of youth form. The Czechs of German invasion, no. Americans of Hawaii of Japanese attack, no. Koreans of a Russian invasion, no. It's Japanese civilians of a United States attack. Yes, Japanese civilians, because the United States would drop the bomb on Japan, which eventually they did on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, 2 nuclear bombs. 4. Oh, I don't know if it's going to actually be on the test though, 34, because that's US history. But why not? Doesn't hurt to go over it. So the Marshall Plan was designed to stop the spread of communism by providing what? Government housing for refugees, 1. 2. Military assistance to Vietnam, no. Funds for economic recovery in war-torn European nations, yes. Marshall Plan basically gave money to European countries after the war. That was one purpose. Unofficially, though, well, was part of a containment policy by the United States to stop the spread of communism. Now, I don't know if Marshall Plan is really going to be on the global regions. I mean, you guys are going to see it, definitely see it when you study U.S. history. But, the answer is 3. Yeah, I probably should make a video about U.S. regions in the future. All right, so you see this little chart. Basically, you answer to question 36 on the graphic organizer below in non-social studies. So you see a little graphic organizer. It says Saddam Hussein removed from power. Saddam Hussein, who was he? He was the leader of Iraq before U.S. kicked him out in 2003 during the Iraq War. Tensions rise between Sunnis and Shiites, two different groups of people. Both of them are Muslims, but I'm not an expert on this, but I guess they have different views, religious views. And 3 desire homeland. Oh, right away. Which country best completes this graphic organizer? Of course, it's Iraq. Saddam Hussein should give it away. It's Iraq. So 236 is 2. Now 37. So it says we have bullet points. First bullet point: China implemented a one-child policy to African nations establish educational and healthcare agendas. So 3, Latin American nations work with the United States to reduce drug trafficking. Which statement can best be drawn from all these statements? Which conclusion can best be drawn from all these statements? Is it 1, governments of different countries reacted in various ways to the same problem? 2, population explosions took place in some countries in the 20th century. 3, some countries look towards other nations to help solve their problem. Or 4, countries have to address a variety of economic and social problems. Yada, yada, yada. It's 4. Countries have to address a variety of economics and social problems. It's the only one that makes sense. Number 1 makes no sense, different. Because they're talking about different problems, not the same problem. 2 makes no sense. So, well, China's one-child policy was designed to stop the explosion of population, but the conclusion has to be based on all 3 of these bullet points. So So this question could get a little confusing for you guys, but the answer is 4. That countries have to address a variety of economic and social problems. This is the only one that makes sense. 4. Okay, let's go. Like this cartoon, so it says, basically answer to question 38 on our cartoon below and your social side. So you see these guys, and it says right here that they're Chinese dissidents. So it says, we Google free speech, democracy, and human rights. Google, Microsoft, Yahoo, Cisco systems collaborate with China to spy on its citizens. No, it's partial. I don't know how it's right now, but back then, 2010, definitely it was true. Google needs the market, the Chinese market, and all these companies need that market because they can make a lot of money. So they collaborate with China to spy on its citizens. And internet in China is a lot more restricted than what we have right here. If you Google something, you're not going to get that many results. And, it's a risky business. So it's developing computer technology prohibited in China. 1, no. 2, Chinese prisoners with denied access to computers. No. 3, foreign software developers have flooded the Chinese market. Could be. Or is it 4? 3, 4. Some American firms have assisted the Chinese government in monitoring citizens' computer usage. So people can get confused between 3 and 4 because foreign software developers, they have gone to Chinese to make money, but based on this cartoon, it's 3. It's 4. Some American firms have assisted to help Chinese government in monitoring citizens' computer knowledge, and we know that's the right answer based on this. Collaborate. So 38. The answer is 4. 39. What is the long-term effect of the Soviet invasion of Afghanistan? Oh, I love this. Actually, when I did my master's and when I got my master's in history a while ago, I wrote my master's thesis on this very topic, the Soviet invasion of Afghanistan. But I'm not going to get into too many details on that. But long-term effect, is it 1, communism was strengthened in South Asia? No. Is it 2, hostility between China and India lessened? No. 3, influence on militant Islamic groups increased? Absolutely yes. Absolutely yes. Because, here's what happened in Afghanistan. Because the United States wanted to get rid of communism, inadvertently they gave a lot of weapons to mujahideen. They were not even called Taliban back then, but they were called mujahideen. Some of them were radical groups, types of groups that we consider terrorists today. And even back then, they did a lot of stuff that is quite terroristic in nature. So the influence of their groups increased in the region. Absolutely yes. 39. The answer is 3. It's not 4. Yeah. All right. So question 40. Let's see what it says. It says a Jewish state is created. 6-day war results in major Arab losses. And their quote right here: withdrawal begins from the West Bank. So which state situation is reflected in these headlines? Is it 1, the Persian Gulf War? Is it 2, scramble for Africa? Is it 3, conflicts between Israelis and Palestinians? Is it 4, collapse of Ottoman Empire? When you see the Jewish state, they talk about Israel. Yes, 6-day war, was the war between Israel and Arab countries, and withdrawal from the West Bank. That's Israelis and Palestinians. That's 3. Really easy. Okay. 41. In Japan, the Meiji Restoration. If you see this on the Regents, they talk about modernization of Japan in the 19th century. That's when they built a lot of factories. And the post-war World II economic miracle can be described as methods of political decentralization, or revolution, democratization, or reactionary social change, or innovative industrial development. Yes. In Japan, what they did, they actually sent people to the United States to learn how to do business. They sent people to many countries. In the 19th century, they sent people to England to learn about how to build factories, and they sent people to the United States to learn how to do business. They did a lot of smart things. And You know, even today, you know, Japan today is, I believe, the most advanced country when it comes to technology, the most advanced country in the world. Right, 42. The establishment of parliamentary democracy in India and the establishment of Portuguese as an official language of Brazil indicates that European colonizers, is it one, influenced the culture of regions under their control, 2, respected the government of indigenous people, 3, promoted Protestant religions of native religions, now, is it 4, studied local traditions before implementing policies. Now, once again, I'm trying to stream my screen. It's the first time streaming this way, so I can't really see the chat yet. I mean, I might figure it out. Trying to figure out this sorcery of technology, but all right. So let's go back to question 42. Gotta stay focused here. Okay, who's that? Okay, somebody's texting. Okay, so respect the company influence of indigenous people, promoted government religions over native religions. Oh, yes, sorry. It's 1. The answer is 1. 42, the answer is 1. Portuguese is an official language of Brazil. Europeans, European colonizers want to influence their culture and regions under their control. I don't think this stuff is going to be on region stuff because that's not great material. That's colonization of the new world. It's not great. Forget about question 42. It's not going to be on the test. Because, you know, in the past they mixed 9th and 10th grade stuff. Right now they're no longer going to do it. From what I know, if I'm right, they're only going to put 10th grade material there. Okay, so we have a little chart. It says global breakthrough of people living with HIV, which is AIDS, which can lead to AIDS. It's a virus in 2006. So 62.4% of them are living in sub-Saharan Africa, 5.8 in the rest of the world. I mean, 3.5 North America, 4.3 Latin America, 4.3 Eastern Europe and Central Asia, and 19.7 South and Southeastern Asia. Which hypothesis about economics of sub-Saharan Africa could be derived from the data in this graph? Is 1, economic growth may be slowed by epidemic? Yes. Wages for workers will probably decline? No. 3, desertification? No, we can eliminate 3 right away. 4, the United Nations will probably reduce support? No. It's 1, economic growth may be slowed by epidemic, and AIDS is an epidemic. Because a lot of people, unfortunately, are having this disease, especially in countries that are not as developed as the United States. And, you know, the United States did have an AIDS epidemic back in the 1980s. You might learn about it in US history if your teacher decides to talk about it. But right now, it's no longer the case. I don't believe that is 1980s. That was horrible back then. A lot of people had AIDS, but let's go to question 44. Spain mines silver. Spain mines silver number. Oh no, let's skip question 44. That's 9th grade. 45. As a result of discrimination during the 19th century, where were main Jews of Eastern Europe forced to live? Is 1, on collective farms. You see collective farms, that's communism. That's, you know, Soviet Union, North Korea, and other communist countries established something known as collective farms, where they forced people to work collectively. This has nothing to do with Jews of Eastern Europe. Is it 2, in fortified villages? No. Is it 3, urban ghettos? Absolutely yes. Urban ghettos. So Nazis also implemented that policy during the Holocaust. All right, let's see. 46, we've got 2 bullet points. It says the Ming Emperor banned the building of large ocean-going ships. All right, so let's forget 46. That's 9th grade. All right, let's go to 47. Okay, so Armenians under Ottoman rule and Cambodians under Khmer Rouge. Khmer Rouge, that means red. That's communist dictators of Cambodia that killed a lot of people. Rouge. Both experienced what? It's 2, human rights violations. It's not an outbreak of plague. It's not economic sanctions. It's an agricultural revolution. So the Armenian genocide is still a very controversial topic. You know, Armenians believe that, you know, Turkey committed. I mean, Ottoman Empire during its last days committed genocide over Armenians. To this day, the country of Turkey denies that there was genocide. This is a controversial topic for both of these countries. I mean, definitely there's no question that all of Armenians died at that time. But I'm not going to get into that, whether or not there was a genocide debate, but yeah, a lot of them died. There was definitely, I mean, it's documented, it happened. A lot of Armenian people did die. So, question 47, the answer is human rights violations. Yeah. 48, one way in which the Council of Trent, they're not going to use the Council of Trent. I mean, Versailles Conference. We can skip 48 because that's, I mean, Versailles Conference of Versailles. That, let's briefly talk about the Versailles Conference. And this conference ended World War I and put the blame on Germany. Germany had to pay reparation, had to take the blame for the war. So this thing might be on our regions, but Council of Trent will not be. We're not even going to talk about it because you need to know it. I mean, so 49. The primary reason the Mongols and the British were able to expand the empire was because Mongols are not going to be on it as well. So, but the answer is 1, knowledge and command of advanced technology. But, yeah. All right, let's go to question 50. All right, so I'm about to end my stream because I don't know if it's going to work. So I'm going to be back, though, tonight at about approximately 9 o'clock. I'm going to do a new stream. And so, question 50, which event can be consistent? Just remember, guys, we are working on really old Regents exam. It's January 2010 Regents exam. But, they tend to recycle all these questions. Which event can be considered a conflict brought about in part by religious reform movement? Is it religious? So religious right away. It's 1979, Iran Revolution. It's not World War II, it's not Cuban Revolution, it's not World War I. Iran, that was a religious revolution in Iran in 1979 where Shah was overthrown and Ayatollahs, religious leaders, took power. And women had to dress a lot differently. Let me show you some pictures of Iran before 1979. Let's see if we can find something. So this is Iran. This is Iran. Take a look at this picture. This is Iranian women before 1979, before the revolution. So they look like every other woman in every other modern country. Quite modern. That's Iran. That's Iran right here. Before 1979, that's Iran right here. And right now they have to wear religious. They have to religious dress. So they have to cover their faces, I believe. So 50 is for Iranian Revolution, 1979. So Iran is partially a theocratic state. I mean, they have elements of democracy. They do have elections in Iran right now, but religion plays a huge role in what Iran is doing. All right, I'm gonna stop sharing it. Okay. Okay. So let's see. We're gonna stop the stream. I don't know if it's gonna work. So we are stopping the stream. And good luck, guys. We'll be back tonight at 9 to give you guys last minute tips. Good luck.